Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Nathan Holloway always believed true friendship was proven in hard times, not easy ones. At 38, a respected civil engineer at a mid-sized firm, he kept only a few close friends, but those he had were loyal to the core. Garrett Webb headed that small list. They'd met in college, when Nathan was studying engineering and Garrett was barely scraping through business school. 15 years later, Garrett ran a successful landscaping company, employing 17 people and serving mansions in the wealthiest suburbs. Nathan gave him financial advice. Garrett repaid him by taking care of Nathan's yard without charging a dime. Nathan thought friendships like that were too rare to waste. That March Saturday, when his phone lit up with Garrett's name, Nathan answered with a smile. He was in the garage organizing tools while Jenna, his wife of 8 years, made lunch in the kitchen. The smile vanished fast. Garrett's voice was tense, almost hesitant, completely out of character for a man who was usually loud and cheerful. "Nathan, I need to see you today. In person. It's urgent. Something happen? You okay?" A pause that lasted too long. "I'm fine. But we need to talk. Coffee at the corner place by my office, 3 p.m. Can you make it?" Nathan agreed, puzzled and a little uneasy. Garrett never talked like this. Maybe money trouble at the company, or some health issue he didn't want to discuss over the phone. Nathan spent the rest of the morning distracted, barely touching the lunch Jenna had lovingly set out. She noticed. "You okay, sweetheart? You seem far away." "Garrett wants to see me today. He sounded really worried about something." Jenna nodded understandingly. "Go ahead. Sophie and I are heading to the park later, let's enjoy the sun." Sophie, their 6-year-old daughter, was playing with dolls in the living room. Nathan watched the quiet scene for a moment, feeling grateful for the family he'd built. Jenna, at 35, was still beautiful and devoted. She worked as a marketing manager at a respected ad firm, balancing career and motherhood with a competence Nathan admired. Their marriage wasn't perfect, no marriage was, but Nathan considered it solid. They had a comfortable routine, decent intimacy, plans for the future. What more could anyone ask for? At 2:45 p.m., Nathan pulled up near the cafe. Garrett was already waiting at a table in the back, away from windows and other customers. His face confirmed how serious this was, lines of worry etched into his forehead, eyes avoiding direct contact. Nathan sat down, ordered coffee he didn't plan to drink, and waited. Garrett took a deep breath. "Dude, I don't even know how to say this. I've spent the whole week wondering whether to tell you or keep quiet, but I decided, if it were me, I'd want to know. Our friendship deserves honesty, even when it hurts." Nathan's stomach clenched. "Garrett, you're scaring me. What's going on?" "It's about Jenna." 3 words that changed everything. Nathan felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. His mind refused to process what it meant, but his body reacted, muscles tightening, heart racing. Garrett went on, voice low and steady. "Last week, my guys were having lunch together in the warehouse. I was in my office, door slightly open, and I overheard them without meaning to. Cole, that new landscaper I hired 6 months ago, was bragging about a married woman he was seeing. Said she was hot, well off, married to some oblivious guy who had no idea." Nathan swallowed hard. "Cole? Cole Brennan. 27, way too good-looking for his own good, ego the size of a house. The other guys were ribbing him, asking for proof." Then he pulled out a photo on his phone. Garrett reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, fingers trembling slightly over the screen. "I recognized her right away, Nathan. I nearly had a heart attack right there. I waited until everyone left, went over to Cole, and said I needed to see that photo again because the woman looked like my cousin. He showed it proudly, the idiot. I took a picture of his screen without him noticing, told him I'd check with my cousin. The phone slid across the table toward Nathan. He picked it up, hands shaking slightly. The screen showed a clear, decent quality photo. Jenna, smiling that familiar smile, head tilted toward the shoulder of a young man sitting beside her. The intimacy in their posture was undeniable. This wasn't a photo of coworkers or friends. It was the photo of a couple. The world tilted. Nathan closed his eyes for a moment, forcing himself to breathe. When he opened them again, the photo was still there, unchanged, accusing. "You're sure it's her?" His voice came out rough, almost unrecognizable. "Nathan, I've known Jenna for years. She's had dinner at my house dozens of times. It's her. And this Cole. I talked to him after, quietly. Told him I heard him talking about a married woman and he better watch out for jealous husbands. He laughed and said her husband was a fool who worked too much and never paid her any attention. Said they meet every Wednesday afternoon, when she's supposedly going to yoga. Been going on for 4 months now. 4 months. 16 weeks. 64 possible meetings." Nathan did the math automatically, his mind clinging to numbers while his emotions threatened to break loose. Wednesdays. Always Wednesdays. Jenna left for yoga at 2 p.m., came back at 5, always smelling like the shampoo from the studio he assumed she went to. He never questioned it. Why would he? He trusted her completely. "Nathan?" Garrett touched his arm. "Breathe, man. I know this is a lot to take in. I need to go." "Wait. What are you going to do?" Nathan stood up abruptly. "I don't know yet. I need to think." Garrett grabbed his wrist. "Promise me you won't do anything stupid. No violence. Don't confront her right now in the heat of the moment. You've got Sophie to think about." The mention of his daughter brought a flash of clarity. Nathan nodded stiffly. "I won't do anything reckless. But I need concrete proof before I do anything." "I get it. If you need anything, call me." Nathan drove home on autopilot. Jenna wasn't there when he arrived, probably still at the park with Sophie. He sat on the living room sofa where they'd watched so many movies together, where they'd planned family vacations, where they'd argued over names before Sophie was born. Every memory now felt tainted, stained by the shadow of betrayal. Part of him wanted to deny it all. The photo could be a misunderstanding, Garrett could be wrong, Cole could be lying to impress his coworkers. But the rational part of him, the part that made him a competent engineer, recognized the pattern. Wednesdays. Always Wednesdays. Jenna coming back from yoga with a different glint in her eyes that he'd blamed on exercise. The phone she kept close, always face down. The intimacy between them that had faded over the last few months, explained away as stress and exhaustion from work. The signs had been there all along. He just hadn't wanted to see them. When Jenna returned with Sophie, Nathan had already made his decision. He wouldn't confront her, not yet, not without undeniable proof. He needed documented, irrefutable evidence she couldn't deny or twist. But he wouldn't wait weeks either. He had a 48-hour window until next Wednesday. Enough time to confirm and act. How was Garrett? Jenna asked as Sophie ran off to her room. Fine. Some company stuff, nothing serious. The lie came too easily, and Nathan felt a quiet sadness. He was learning from the best. Sunday passed in a haze of forced normalcy. Nathan played with Sophie, watched a game on TV, ate dinner as a family. He watched Jenna with new eyes, noticing every gesture, every glance at her phone, every smile that now seemed rehearsed. She showed no guilt, no nervousness, which disturbed him even more. Either she was innocent, or she was an expert liar. Monday morning, after Jenna left for work and Sophie for school, Nathan began his investigation. First, he checked the joint bank account through the app. His eyes scanned transactions from the last 4 months. There they were, clear as day, $200 cash withdrawals every week, always on Tuesdays. Money with no digital trail, perfect for secrets. His second step was more invasive. Nathan accessed the GPS app linked to Jenna's car, a safety feature they'd installed after a string of neighborhood break-ins. The history showed an unmistakable pattern. Over the last 16 Wednesdays, her car never went to the yoga studio. Instead, it stopped at a budget motel 20 minutes from home, parked for about 2 hours before heading to a nearby gym where Jenna supposedly showered after yoga. Nathan saved screenshots of everything. His hands shook as the evidence piled up, each one hammering another nail into the coffin of their marriage. Still, he needed one final, undeniable proof. On Tuesday, he contacted a family law attorney. A quick meeting confirmed what he suspected: proof of infidelity, while not decisive in many states for asset division, would heavily influence custody decisions and the judge's perception. More importantly, the lawyer advised him on the legal steps to take, avoiding actions that could backfire in court. Wednesday arrived heavy with tension. Nathan told Jenna Tuesday night that he had an important meeting Wednesday morning and would be working from home in the afternoon. Jenna nodded absently, clearly distracted. In the morning, she followed her usual routine: coffee with Sophie, a quick kiss to Nathan, then off to work. Nathan took Sophie to school, heart heavy as he said goodbye. At 1 p.m., Nathan parked on the street beside the motel the GPS had flagged. His position gave him a clear view of the lot without being seen. He waited with a patience he didn't feel, each minute stretching like an hour. At 2:10 p.m., Jenna's car pulled into the lot. She got out, glancing around quickly before walking toward the front desk. Minutes later, a black pickup pulled in beside her. A young man stepped out, tall, dark hair, confident smile. Cole Brennan. Nathan took photos of everything: cars side by side, plates clearly visible, timestamps embedded in the images. Cole walked into the motel, clearly knowing exactly which room Jenna was waiting in. Nathan felt nausea rise but forced himself to stay focused. He had a job to do. 2 hours felt like an eternity. Nathan couldn't stop imagining what was happening in that cheap room, on that bed that had probably seen dozens of similar affairs. His wife, mother of his 6-year-old daughter, in another man's arms. A younger man, maybe better looking, certainly less responsible. What did Cole offer that Nathan didn't? Excitement? Novelty? Freedom from commitment? At 4:15 p.m., the door to the room opened. Jenna came out first, checking the hallway. Cole followed, his hand briefly touching her waist before they parted. They kissed quickly, a casual gesture of a couple settled into their routine. Nathan photographed the moment, bile rising in his throat. When they walked toward their cars, Nathan started the engine. He waited until they were almost at their vehicles before pulling out swiftly, blocking the exit with his own car. He got out slowly, deliberately, heart pounding against his ribs. Jenna saw him first. Color drained from her face instantly, her expression shifting from relaxed to horrified in a fraction of a second. Cole, still smiling, took a moment to register the situation. When he recognized the man blocking his exit, the smile vanished. "Nathan," Jenna began, voice cracking. "No," the word came sharp, cutting her off. Nathan stepped forward with measured steps, keeping a safe distance between them. "I don't want to hear excuses." "Not yet." Cole stepped back instinctively, glancing at his pickup like he was calculating his escape. Nathan noticed the movement. "You can relax, Cole. I'm not going to touch you. Violence doesn't solve anything, it just hurts me legally. But you're going to stay here and listen to what I have to say." "Dude, look," Cole raised his hands defensively. "Dude, nothing. You've been sleeping with my wife for 4 months. My wife. The mother of my 6-year-old daughter. So the least you can do is have the decency to shut up and listen. Jenna interrupted, tears starting to fall. Nathan, please, let's go home and talk. I can explain everything. Explain what exactly, Jenna? Nathan pulled out his phone, opening the photo gallery. Explain the weekly cash withdrawals? Explain why your car's GPS shows you coming to this motel every Wednesday for months? Explain this photo? He held up the image Garrett had sent. My best friend recognized you in the arms of his employee. The guy who was bragging about hooking up with a married woman. Jenna covered her mouth with her hand, a sob escaping. Cole, seeing the mounting evidence, seemed to shrink. His bravado vanished completely. Nathan continued, voice controlled but thick with pain. You know what hurts more, Jenna? It's not the sex. Bodies are bodies. What hurts is the systematic lying. Every Wednesday, you looked me in the eyes and lied. Every goodbye kiss was a prelude to meeting him. Every time you complained about being tired at night, it was because you'd already spent your energy here. You made a fool out of me in my own home. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. And worse, you put our daughter's stability at risk. Sophie adores you, Jenna. She trusts you the way I trusted you. And you threw it all away for what? He looked at Cole with contempt. For someone 10 years younger who'll probably dump you the minute he finds something easier? Cole finally found his voice. Hey, don't talk like that. Jenna and I have something real. She said you didn't pay attention to her, that the marriage was dead. Oh, she told you that? Nathan laughed without humor. And you believed her? Let me tell you something about my wife, Cole. She's excellent at telling people exactly what they want to hear. It's not true, is it, Jenna? Jenna didn't answer, eyes fixed on the ground. Nathan turned back to her. I talked to my lawyer yesterday. I have all the documented evidence, dates, locations, photos, Garrett's testimony. The divorce filing starts tomorrow. I'm seeking primary custody of Sophie, and with what I've got, the chances are good. You can visit, I'm not a monster, but she stays with me. You can't do that. Jenna snapped awake, panic replacing shame. She needs her mother. She needed a mother who didn't destroy the family over a 4-month affair. That mother, you chose not to be her. Heavy silence fell over the three of them. A motel employee peered out the window, clearly intrigued by the drama. Nathan didn't care. After months of being fooled, there was little shame left. Cole, perhaps trying to escape, moved toward his pickup. Nathan didn't stop him. Go, Cole. But know this, Garrett's firing you tomorrow. And in this landscaping circle, word travels fast. Good luck finding another job without a reference. Cole went pale but said nothing. He got in his truck and maneuvered around Nathan's car, speeding off. Jenna watched him leave, realizing too late that no look of support or promise of help had come from her lover. She was alone. Jenna, I'm going home now. You should too. We need to tell Sophie in a way that protects her as much as possible. After that, you can gather your things. My lawyer said technically you're entitled to stay in the house until the divorce is final, but I sincerely hope you have the decency to leave voluntarily. Where am I supposed to go? I don't know. Maybe Cole will take you in. Or maybe you'll find out what I found out, that promises made in motel rooms rarely survive daylight. Nathan got in his car without looking back. In the rearview mirror, he saw Jenna standing in the parking lot, a lonely figure in a sordid place. Part of him wanted to feel satisfaction, but only emptiness remained. The following weeks were a whirlwind of lawyers, paperwork, and painful conversations. Sophie, confused and sad, bounced between her parents with eyes that didn't understand why the world had changed. Nathan explained the situation in age-appropriate terms, without demonizing Jenna, but also without shielding her from the consequences. The girl cried a lot, but gradually adjusted to the new routine. Jenna tried to reconcile at first, showing up at the house with flowers and tears, swearing Cole meant nothing. Nathan refused categorically. Trust, once shattered, couldn't be rebuilt with apologies. Cole, as predicted, disappeared quickly. Without a job thanks to Garrett, and with no realistic shot at a serious relationship with a married woman now in the middle of a messy divorce, he moved to another city. Jenna learned bitterly that affairs have expiration dates. The divorce finalized in 5 months. Nathan kept the house, he'd paid most of it. Shared custody was arranged, with Sophie spending the majority of her time with her father due to the stability he provided. Jenna, living in a rented apartment, worked longer hours to cover expenses. Colleagues at her office, some of whom knew Nathan socially, treated her with polite coldness that spoke louder than any confrontation. 9 months after the motel confrontation, Nathan ran into Jenna at the grocery store. She was pushing a nearly empty cart, looking tired, her clothes less carefully chosen than before. He was with Sophie, picking out her favorite cereal. "Dad, look, it's Mom." Sophie waved cheerfully. Jenna approached with a forced smile. "Hi, sweetheart." "Hi, Nathan." "Jenna." Sophie ran to hug her mother, and Nathan let her have the moment. Despite everything, Jenna was still Sophie's mother, and denying the child that affection would be unnecessary cruelty. "How are you?" Jenna asked after Sophie returned to the cart. "Good. Working a lot, taking care of Sophie. Life goes on. I miss how things used to be." Nathan considered his answer carefully. "Things were how you chose to make them, Jenna. Consequences are choices too." She lowered her eyes. "I know. Not a day goes by I don't regret it. Regret's good. Means you learned something. But it doesn't change what happened." An uncomfortable silence stretched. Sophie, impatient, tugged at Nathan's hand. "Dad, Amanda's coming over for dinner tonight, right? She promised to make that pasta I like." Jenna raised an eyebrow. "Amanda?" Nathan nodded without elaborating. Amanda was Sophie's teacher, a kind, patient woman he'd been getting to know better over the past few months. Nothing serious yet, just occasional dinners and long talks, but the possibility of something more hung in the air. She knew about his past and didn't judge, just offered quiet presence and genuine laughter. "Well," Jenna said finally, "I'm glad you're moving on." The word sounded sincere, but Nathan detected underlying sadness. She realized he hadn't just survived, he'd thrived. While she struggled with the fallout of her choices, he was building a new life, brick by brick. "Thanks. Take care, Jenna." He wheeled the cart away, Sophie chattering about school and friends. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. The past was settled. The present was manageable. The future held possibilities. That night, as Amanda served pasta and Sophie laughed at a silly joke, Nathan allowed himself a moment of reflection. Betrayed trust hurt like few wounds could. But he'd learned that scars, though permanent, didn't have to define a person. He chose not to become bitter or vengeful. He chose to protect his daughter and rebuild his dignity. He chose to trust again, even knowing the risks. Garrett had been right that fateful Saturday, true friendship is proven in hard times. And Nathan proved to himself that true character is revealed the same way. Jenna had broken sacred promises, but he didn't need to break himself in the process. Justice didn't come through elaborate revenge, it came through the natural consequences of choices made. She sowed wind and reaped a storm. He planted seeds of renewal and waited for them to bloom. It was enough. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.